Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm so excited to talk to you about this really quickly. If you just give me like 5 to 10 minutes, I'm gonna try to keep it together. Just give me 5 to 10 minutes. I want to share with you how public speaking changes the leader. Yes, the leader. I know we talk about public speaking from a service mindset, and I totally, wholeheartedly believe that when you get up there to share your message or expertise, your wisdom, your resources, whatever it is, when you get up there to speak before other people, you should have a service mentality. You should be up there to give. You should be up there to give affirmation, give love, give advice, give direction, give insight, give revelation, et cetera, et cetera. And it's not about the applause or the encore or people asking you for autographs or anything like that. But there is a true benefit of speaking in a certain way. If you do it with for sake of growing your movement, when you do it for sake of impacting more people, when you do it for sake of helping more people experience your coaching programs, your nonprofit organization, the thing that you know provides true transformational value to their lives, I'm telling you, it does just as much for the speaker and the leader as it does for the audience. And I think we need to talk about that. So the first thing I wanted to talk about, well, number one, let me see where you're tuning in from. Drop it in the chat. Let me know if you're tuning in from Australia, if you're tuning in from North Carolina, if you're tuning in from New York, if you're tuning in from Africa. Let me know. I would love to know that. And if you're watching the replay, go ahead and hashtag replay. Would love to know. Hey, sometimes I'll get the notifications. It'll say hashtag replay on my phone. I'll be like, oh, let me see who's watching the replay. And then we still can continue the dialogue. And then I'll be more present with you in the chat instead of preaching at you or helping you to evolve through offering you my gift and sharing insights from my life experience. Okay, cool. So the first thing I want to talk to you, I got three. Okay, let's see if I can do this in 5 to 10 minutes. So the first one, I know I need to slow down. I'm so excited because nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking, and I lived so long for a incomplete definition of what it meant to serve as a speaker. I literally would say to people that you are on stage to give, not to get. And I preached it down. Like I talked about it as if it was like truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. Like I was like, hey, you are not up there to get as a speaker. You're not up there to get attention. You're not up there to get affirmation. You're not up there to get anything. You're up there to give, right? And that's incomplete. I think the heart is it's a good intent, but it's an incomplete narrative. Okay. So I want to talk to you about how speaking changes the leader, specifically in three different ways. Okay. Number one, fulfillment. Okay. Hashtag fulfillment in the chat. If you can hear me, fulfillment. The speaker gets fulfillment from speaking. Okay. So for me, I know that man, I'm so alive after I get done speaking and I see people coming up to me. They're saying, oh man, that was so helpful. That's exactly what I need to hear. Because prior to my development, while I know that what I have to teach is valuable and it can help a lot of people, you still don't really know who it's going to help, in what ways it's going to help them. And you don't know if you're going to bomb the engagement or not. So when you do it and you get that feedback from people, man, that was so life changing. I took so many notes, man. Oh my gosh, that was exactly what I need to hear. I was just talking to a friend about that. Like you can't make that stuff up. That is literally God just orchestrating your life story, their life story, instances, occasions, and it's so fulfilling. And I like a lot of times after I get done speaking, I can't even go to sleep. Like I'm calling my wife. I'm like, hey, sweetie, I see you in the chat. Thank you. Hashtag fulfillment. I'm calling my wife. I'm seeing, I'm processing things. I'm telling her the testimonials. I'm talking to people on my team. Like I'm doing all the things because I just am full of energy. And that's what speaking in the right way can do for you as a leader. Here's why that's important. Because we've got a lot of leaders nowadays that are like leading from an empty cup. Like their well is running like dry, dude. Like the recession is beating them up. Like the pandemic is still taking the toll on them. Like the post effects of the pandemic, and it's just a challenging times for some leaders to lead through, especially when they're not. What's the word? They don't have the opportunity to express themselves, their story from stage. And so think about this: when you speak on stage and you start to get that feedback and you start to gain that energy and gain that fulfillment, think about how that changes how you show up in your business, how you show up in your nonprofit organization, how you just show up in your marriage. Like I tell you what, the best time for me and my wife to get it on is after I get done speaking, because I'm ready, girl. Sorry, sweetie. I know. See, I'm gonna have to pause this live stream. I work from home, so she in the other room. Woo, rabbit trail. Okay, so number one is fulfillment. Number two, understanding of self. Understanding of self. I believe the most powerful communication lives in the space of vulnerability. Okay, I'm actually writing a book right now about vulnerable communication. Okay, and one of the things that I'm discovering is how important, like what vulnerability really is, right? Vulnerability is really your willingness to be open. Listen to this, be open to both love and pain. Okay. You're open to both love and pain. The same gateway of your heart that love comes through is the same gateway that pain can come through. And so the reason why a lot of people don't get up there and share vulnerably from stage is because they don't want to feel the pain of rejection. They don't want to feel the pain of people not agreeing with them. They don't want to feel the pain of being judged or criticized or even disagreed with. Because when you share something that you truly, truly believe in a way that you truly believe in it, and people don't reciprocate love and they don't agree with you, man, that feels terrible. That feels terrible. Nobody wants to get up there and be vulnerable and be rejected. But that's what's required, because the speaker always has to go first before the audience does. And I tell you what, here's what I believe. As I was writing the book, I literally wrote this line this morning. I believe that the next generation of communicators, the ones that are going to lead us, the Eric Thomases, the Tony Robbins, the Marie Forleos, the Priscilla Shearers, I'm like butchering her name probably, like whoever, name your favorite speaker of the current. I believe if we fast forward the clocks 50 years, 60 years, that generation of speakers is going to be all about vulnerability, because that is the space through which transformation happens. Think about it. Not only are you as a speaker that open and that transparent and that authentic, but then you help your audience to become that way too. And the amount of insight, I'm getting ahead of myself. The amount of understanding of yourself that you get when you're that vulnerable is so powerful. Because when you open yourself up to both receive love and pain and judgment and criticism, praise and attacks, what happens is on the other side of your vulnerability is a greater understanding of yourself. Okay. I'll give you an example. I was at this event this past weekend, and there's a tendency every weekend my coaches do a live event. It's free, and all they ask is that you give what you get, like whatever you feel like you got out of the event, that you just sow like an offering or whatever. And so I've been going to these events for like 6 months now, and they always ask you certain questions, and you get to decide how vulnerable you are. Okay. You get to decide what you share. Usually I don't know any of the other people there because it's not my usual circle. And so I could just lie. And don't laugh at me, because I know some of y'all lying. If you know people who lie when they at events, type hashtag lies in the chat. Even if this is a replay, hashtag lies in the chat, because people be lying. They be talking about profits they don't really got, clients they don't really have, processes they never been through. People be lying. Anyways, there's a tendency that I could lie or exaggerate, be anything other than vulnerable. Okay. And then there's degrees to vulnerability, right? I can tell you I had a tough time. I can tell you that I've had depressing thoughts in the last week. I can tell you that I haven't even felt like getting out of bed some days. I can tell you that I don't really believe in myself. Like there's degrees of vulnerability. And so we were going around and we had this opportunity to share, multiple opportunities to share, but this time specifically, and I knew that there was something coming up for me around one of the relationships that I have. Oh my gosh. Of course, they're going to start cutting the grass. Hold on. Shut the windows. I usually don't leave my windows open, but I wanted some fresh air in here. So I knew there was an opportunity for me to share, and I had an invitation to how vulnerable I was going to be. And I decided to be as vulnerable as I could possibly be in that space. And I opened up about some relationship problems that I was having. And it was challenging. I was afraid to bring it up, number one, because I knew I would have to do something about it. I was afraid to say something because I didn't want to get emotional in front of other people. And I did. I got emotional. I start crying. Everybody's eyes were on me and all this stuff. I wasn't being judged, but I was being vulnerable. And in that space of vulnerability, I found what was on the other side of the emotion that I've been harboring. When you get up on stage and you share vulnerably, you get to see what's on the other side of emotions that maybe you haven't processed fully yet or haven't processed in that way. And different ways of processing things will bring up different insights within yourself, which brings me to number three. So, number one, the leader gets fulfillment. Number two, the leader gets a greater understanding of him or herself. And number three, the leader gets insights and revelation. Okay. Hashtag insights and revelation in the chat. Insights. You ever you ever be talking to somebody in a conversation and like it might be like y'all going back and forth, y'all talking about life, politics, whatever's going on, and you say something that you've never said before or in a way that you never said it before, right? And then you think to yourself, man, that was kind of good. I should write that down. I should write that down. You know, you should be speaking more if you have multiple moments in your life where you say, we should write that down. That's called insight. That's called revelation. That happens in the tangle between what I have to share and how you respond to what I have to share. Your doubt and my doubt, your faith and my faith, your psychology and my psychology, your spiritual beliefs and my spiritual beliefs. In that love dance, in that tango, there is insights and revelation that is available to you as a leader. Now imagine what you could do with more insight, with more revelation. You get revelation that I believe is divine, that only happens when we synergize, when we dialogue, when we disagree, when we agree. Every speaker knows that when you get in front of an audience, not everybody's going to agree with you. It is a wrestle of wills and emotions that's going on. And when you do it in a vulnerable way, what happens is you start to gain greater insights and revelation. That's why one of the best things you can do is review your speeches. It's one of the best things you can do because you get to see, oh my gosh, I said like 4 things that I didn't plan to say. Now, I'm speaking about vulnerable communication. If you're not doing communication this way, you have no clue what I'm talking about. If you're just getting up there, super rehearsed, stuck to your notes, and rigid, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay. And that's okay. I've been there before. Listen, I remember to do a 30-minute sermon, I had 12 pages of notes. 12. Just in case I ran out of things to say, I could just keep going to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. It was way too many notes. Way too many notes. And I was over preaching. I was the guy that was getting ready to close. Supposed to be 30 minutes. It's like 45 minutes now. And I know I told y'all 5 to 10 minutes. I'm doing it right now. Okay. And then, so there's usually 2 types of speakers. There's like the over prepared person who's like stuck and chained to their notes. I should do a separate post about this. And then there's another type of person who is like, I'm not even going to prepare at all. I'm just going to go with my heart. I'm just going to share my heart, brother. I'm just going to share my heart, sister. And the problem with just sharing your heart, should I go here? Well, the problem with that, here, let me say it this way. This is the nicest way I know how to say it. When all you do is just share your heart. Let me say it this way. I've never met a person who just got up there and shared their heart and didn't forget things that they wanted to say, right? Did I say that the right way? Let me just say it from my personal experience. When I get up there, not prepared, just sharing I don't do that anymore. But in the days where I was like, you know what, I'm just going to share from my heart, I always forgot things that I needed to mention, right? And so the preparation process helps you to get your anchor points. And I'm not saying everyone has to go from a manuscript, right? That's one way to prepare. And there's nothing against that. That's what we help our speakers through their TEDx talks. But you don't have to do it that way. You can have bullet points. You can have an outline. There's multiple different ways that you can set it up. There's way more creative ways. You can, if you're a visual person, there's all type of visual cues you can do to set anchors for yourself in your speech. And so I'm not saying you have to be one way or other, but where I'm going with this is that if you just wing it, then you never really have the opportunity to set those parameters and then dive into the areas that you really know you need to dive into. And I'm all for being intuitive, but when you speak from a level of preparation, what it helps you to do is you already know your direction. Then you'll find your divine insights and revelation within the parameters of what you are called to share in that particular regard. Okay. So I'm probably going to have to do a separate post about that. So if that really didn't make sense, it's because I'm trying not to turn this into a 25-minute post. I really want these to be short, because what happens is people have short attention spans, and then they look at the video and they go, oh, it's 15 minutes. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to watch it. It's too long. And I'm like, dude, play it for 2 minutes. You'll get something from it. Fulfillment, greater understanding of self, insight, and revelation. These are 3 things that the leader gets when they speak in a way that's vulnerable, with the intent to grow a movement, with the intent to make transformational change in the lives of other people, with the intent to grow their coaching program, their nonprofit organization, their church. It really doesn't matter what it is. Whatever the thing is that you have that's helpful to people, if you want to grow the thing because you want to help more people, this is what you get out of the process. And this is so important for us, y'all. I think we need to start talking about this, and as leaders, open ourselves up to receive just as much as we give. Because if you just go up there with the service only mindset and you're not open to receive as well, what's going to happen is you're going to be depleted. You're going to be like speaking and be like, why am I doing this thing? Right? Why am I doing this thing? I'm getting nothing from it. I'm getting nothing from it other than the joy of knowing that it's helpful to somebody, but don't you want it to be helpful to you too? Yes. And that's what I'm noticing about myself. I'm a different person. I'm a different leader. I can do better things. Like the insights and the revelation that I get from speaking, it's just like, oh my gosh, like I'm so excited. I was holding myself back from speaking more because I was like, oh, I don't want to be on the road and blah, 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 blah. And then now that I'm doing it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I see why people fall in love with this. I feel like why some people don't even know how to shut the thing off, right? Like, I'm not going to do that. I got 3 daughters and a boy on the way. Yes, hashtag boy. 3 daughters and a boy on the way. So I'm not going to like be crazy and be on the road like every single day of the week, but I am going to allow myself to lead a movement. I am going to allow myself to gain insight and revelation, greater understanding of myself, fulfillment, because I tell you what, I'm a better husband. I'm a better father. I'm a better leader. I'm a better community person. And so are you. So I hope that this unlocks your mind a little bit and opens you up as a speaker to receive just as much, if not more, than what you give, because you deserve it. Your movement deserves it. Your family deserves it. And if there's any way that I can support you around that, I put a link to my Message to Movement application. Go ahead and fill that out. We'll schedule a conversation, see where you're at in your business, see if speaking makes sense, see how we can make it work as a revenue stream within what you're currently doing so that you can gain greater fulfillment, greater understanding of yourself, greater insight and revelation to build your movement, help more people, change more lives. That's how we turn the recession into the best time of our lives. That is how we shift the curve from this negative stuff that's in the news to the optimism that exists in real life. So if that interests you, go ahead and fill that application out. Thank you so much. I love you. Let me know your comments as you're watching the replay. Would love to see you. If this is beneficial to you, make sure you share this on your social media or tag someone that you love, that you care about, who needs to hear this, who you feel this could be a benefit to. I love y'all so much. Go do great things today because we can make an impact together. Peace.